Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Hey all, so sorry it's so dark in here. I just realized I didn't turn my light on above, so I apologize if my face is a little dark today. Not good stuff, man. How many of you guys have been following the Harmony Montgomery case? We've been covering it little bits here and there. It kind of all this stuff came around right about the time Summer Wells case came was coming up. And of course, all of our attention was there. And then the Harmony Montgomery, the Serenity McKinney, the Oakley Carson started coming, up into the limelight, into the attention. We started noticing a problem, a real problem with the alphabet soup of child protective services across this country. I mean, this was an alarming case where we don't understand how this child got into the custody of her father. Her father was a violent felon and never had a home study done in the home. The mom, her mother, Crystal, was on, drugs. So she was removed, put in foster care, and they reached out to this father, again, violent felon that had been recently released from prison, and then put this girl in his care. And all of a sudden, nobody hears from her. He tells all their family, his family, Adam Montgomery, the father, Kayla Montgomery, the girl that you see in this thumbnail, which is stepmom to Harmony Montgomery. They tell all their family and friends that Harmony actually went back to her mom when she never did. Then after that, she was gone for almost, I want to say, over a year, maybe possibly 2 years before anybody realized she was nowhere to be found. As far as the alphabet soup of child welfare, Crystal, her mother, nobody realized that she was not in the care of the father or the stepmother here, Kayla Montgomery. And then they got involved, CPS, law enforcement, everybody got involved to find this little girl. She's been missing for quite some time. And then just recently, just a few months back, they pulled a search warrant for the apartment that she was last living in before she disappeared, where they removed a refrigerator, they removed handles, they removed portions of the flooring, portions of the drywall. And then weeks later to a month, they came out and they stated to us that they have now ruled this a homicide, that they believe that Harmony Montgomery is no longer with us, and they are proceeding with that. The mom, the stepmother, Kayla, had some charges dropped against her related to fraud, welfare fraud. And so I thought she was kind of helping the, prosecution as part of a plea deal, go against Adam Montgomery, which is most likely the offender. We don't know. These people, Kayla and Adam, are really messed up were at this time on a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, not a conducive environment. They were kicked out of their homes. They were living in 2 cars. They were homeless with all their children. And they had the 2 boys. The boys are still here. The only one that was missing was Harmony Montgomery. Well, Kayla was supposed to go to court today, and we just learned that she never went to court. So this is breaking about 20 or 30 minutes ago. We just learned that Kayla Montgomery appears to have fled. It appears she is on the run at this moment. She never showed up to her court hearing. She currently has a warrant for her arrest. So I just wanted to just kind of go over this. We're probably going to hear a commercial, but that's okay. Maybe not. Yeah, we'll have a commercial.
Whoa, sorry. You probably didn't catch all that. Glad you can see.
Well, Kayla Montgomery is currently out on bail for charges not connected to the disappearance and death of Harmony Montgomery. But after 3 recent interactions with Manchester police this month alone, the Attorney General's office says it's worried that Montgomery may have violated her bail conditions. Now, the Attorney General's office filed this motion asking a judge to require Montgomery to prove that she is complying with her conditions of release. Montgomery is facing felony and misdemeanor charges for allegedly lying to the Department of Health and Human Services about having Harmony Montgomery in her care when she did not. Now, according to the AG's office, on August 11th, Montgomery was a passenger in a vehicle that was stopped by police for what appeared to be a drug transaction. On August 22nd, Montgomery was located inside a Queen City hotel where police obtained a search warrant after learning Montgomery and another person were actively selling narcotics from the hotel room. On August 24th, Montgomery was a passenger in a vehicle where drug paraphernalia was allegedly found during a search by Manchester police. Now, it's important to note Montgomery was never arrested during these encounters. The Attorney General's office declined to comment on this motion. We also reached out to Montgomery's attorney, but we have not heard back. Reporting live tonight, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
So there you guys have it. She has a warrant for her arrest. If I can get this to stop, it's going to go over to the next one. Sorry, guys. There we go. So she is just, I don't know if she's on the run. I don't know if she just failed to appear. I mean, we're just, this stuff is just breaking. We're hearing it for ourselves. And here's a great timeline. I wanted to show this to you because I wasn't expecting this on this article, but this article really just breaks this down for Harmony Montgomery. This is so sad. Like, this little girl was precious. And not only that, but she was already blind in one eye. That's why she had to wear glasses, is because she was blind. So she was already, you know, going through all this. You know, her parents had already split up. She was in the custody of her mom. God knows what she was seeing in the custody of her mom, because I heard that her mom was on some really hard stuff. And God knows what happened to her when her mom was on really hard stuff. But the state came in and took her out of her mom's care, and she was thriving from all accounts in foster care. You know, the foster care system is not a pretty place, but there are some beautiful people in the foster care system. And those beautiful people do a wonderful job. There are people that aren't as good as others, but it seemed to me, for all accounts, she was thriving in the foster care system, and a judge ripped her out of that foster care system and stuck her with her father. And that proved to be a very deadly combination. And right now we're just looking for her, trying to find, but this gives a real good clarification and rundown of what really happened to her. So Harmony Montgomery, this is the investigation. July, let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you guys can see it. So June 14th, Harmony was born. So she was born in 2014. Harmony was removed from 2014 to 2018. Harmony was removed from her mother's care 3 times for neglect related to drug use. Harmony's father visited her father in prison twice, in January and July of 2015. In September 2015, Adam Montgomery was released from prison and moved to New Hampshire. In September 2016, a year later, Adam Montgomery contacts Massachusetts Department of Children and Family Services for the first time to start resuming visitation with his daughter, Harmony. In 2017, February of 2017, so roughly about 5 months later, after visiting Harmony once a month for 5 months, Adam Montgomery stops responding to DCF requests for future meetings. And that's kind of telling me, because, you know, everybody gets saved and gets clean in jail. So it sounds like, just in my experience, it sounds like somewhere around this February 2017 mark, he must have got sucked back into that drug lifestyle and the stuff that wound him up in prison to begin with. That's just my opinions, pure speculation and conjecture based on this timeline. In August 2018, over a year later, Adam meets with Harmony for the first time in 11 months and the 9th time in her life. So he had only met his daughter at this point, August 2018, 9 times in this child's entire life. And he had contact with DCF in September 2017 after 7-month period of no contact. In July 2018, Crystal Sorey loses the custody of her daughter yet again for the drug addiction issues, and Harmony was placed in foster care in Haverhill. In December 2018, so that's about 5 months later, the Department of Children and Family Services requests a home study by the New Hampshire Division of Children and Family Services, and I believe this home study is for Adam Montgomery. In 2019, so about 3 more months later, Harmony's father, Adam, is granted legal custody of the girl by the family judge before he received the additional information related to the home study. Easter 2019, so this is only, 2 additional months after this, because I think it's April, if I'm not mistaken. God, I think it's April. She said that was the last time she actually spoke with her daughter And it looks like they have a YouTube video here.
Well, Harmony's mother, along with her family, gathered here at this park in Manchester tonight. Everyone coming together, vowing to bring Harmony home. Crystal Sorey holds hands with her family as they gather for a vigil and pray for the safe return of her daughter, Harmony Montgomery. The 7-year-old girl has not been seen since October of 2019. Crystal last saw Harmony in April of that year.
Last time I saw her was Easter. I had a FaceTime with her. I showed her basket. I said, next time we see you, you're going to have this basket I got you.
But Crystal says after that call, Harmony's father and legal custodian, Adam Montgomery, cut all ties with her and her family.
Everyone, family, me, like even my sister reached out, others, nothing.
Worried about her daughter, Crystal says for months she called DCYF, law enforcement, anyone who could help her track down Harmony.
Anybody I could, like. I reached out to all my family, like, listen, we need to come forward, something's happening.
But it wasn't until 2 years later, New Year's Eve 2021.
Yes, that's correct, guys. 2 years later.
When Manchester police announced a missing persons investigation for Harmony after officials say they became aware of her disappearance just days earlier. Since then, police have set up a hotline, established a $94,000 reward for information, and conducted numerous searches for Harmony. On Saturday, investigators were at her last known address, a home on Guilford Street. And as they continue to follow leads, Crystal says she has made it her mission to bring Harmony home. Never giving up.
No, never. We're coming. We're going to bring her home. We're never going to stop.
And now if you have any information on the whereabouts of Harmony Montgomery, you can contact the Manchester
thank you, Tracy.
Police
That's
Department
sweet. Thank you for the love and support, love.
203-6060. Reporting in Manchester.
So there you go. There's a rundown. So in July 2019, DCF actually received a call of abuse in that home, and they basically related to an injury to her eye, a black eye, and unfortunately they I think they knocked and they it was explained as it was one of the other children that had done it, but later found out by his own brother that he may have done it. But anyways, it's just a sad story. This girl's been gone for 2 years, as you heard, and they just recently, I think they've got it in here, since 2022. Let's go to 2022. So they set up a 24-hour tip line. The reward has grown to $144,000. So this is major money for anybody with any information related to the disappearance of Harmony Montgomery, $144,000. So all you web sleuths out there, if you really want to help, this would be a great case to help on, because she still hasn't been found. They were in Manchester, New Hampshire. They were living on the East Manchester side, I believe, of Manchester. So, there is a lot of parks out there. There are a lot. I looked at previewed the area myself. There's a lot of trees and places to hide her, especially with them being homeless and very transient at the time that she disappeared. This is a big deal. So if anybody can help with this, you guys can send any information to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. We have been covering this case, but there hasn't been a whole lot of traction on this case since, not traction by the audience, traction by law enforcement giving us information for this case. It's kind of a hurry up and wait situation with Harmony Montgomery, because they did the search warrant. The FBI went in that house and removed a lot of stuff, including a refrigerator, and looked in the manholes in and around that house. So they feel like she's there somewhere, and they must have felt like something really bad happened to her in that house. And then after they had it, let's see here. This was just recent. So let me pull this up. Kayla was released from jail in May. She didn't show up today. She was arrested for perjury charges. And when did they do the whole, I thought it was just recently. But anyways, they just did a whole entire search warrant over there where they took a refrigerator and some other items. And shortly after that, I don't know the specific date, how long from the time they did that search warrant to the time they came out to the public, they told us that they now believe that they're treating this as a homicide investigation. They have upgraded it from a missing person case to a homicide investigation after the search warrant, not before. So, this is crucial. And then she's supposed to go, and she's already back into the drugs. She's already back into the drugs, this stepmom. And, this is the lifestyle that this poor baby had to live in. She went from a foster care family that was taking very good care of her into this nightmare household where this child was just, it sounds like, not treated very well at all. And I keep wondering why she was treated so poorly. And maybe the boys were as well. Maybe Kayla's kids that she had with Adam were also equally treated bad, but they obviously survived. She's the only one missing. And she's the only one that they believe is deceased at this moment. And what this judge, the failures of the system, that is what led. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be honest, these children should not be in the system. At the end of the day, this all comes back to the parents. Okay. So I'm not escaping that whatsoever. But, we know we have problems with all these drugs and these parents taking care of their children. And we fund, with our taxes, the Department of Children and Family Service and the alphabet soup across this country. And we fund it with billions of dollars. And there is no reason for when a child is introduced into the system with all of our fail safes put in place that this child should just go turn up missing for 2 years. And then we have 2 states pointing the finger back at each other saying, no, it's not me, it's them. And they're saying, no, it's not me, it's them. And this is the kind of nonsense we have. If you guys haven't been watching me, I have been an advocate for children that have gone missing. I have been an advocate for this alphabet soup of child protective services, this alphabet soup of child welfare. And I don't understand why in 2022, we do not have a centralized database that when you come in contact, when any social work comes in contact with a child or with a family, they're able to plug that child's name in, that date of birth, and that social security card, and they should be able to look at their entire case from no matter what state they come from in this country. If they've had contact or had a case open with the Department of Children Family Services anywhere in the United States of America, they should be in a system. So if they move to another state, their entire case file is wherever they go. They literally plug in their names, plug in their dates, plug in their social security numbers, and they pull up the information. That's the way it should be. This is 2022, folks. We should not be having any more Harmony Montgomerys due to some issue from state to state. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the panel here. If you guys have something to say, this was a heartbreaking case for me, to be honest with you. All these cases are heartbreaking. I don't cover them because they make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. I cover them because they're horrible and people need to see their faces. The stories need to be exposed, and we need to find these children and bring them, at least in this case, let her rest in peace. She's been thrown away like garbage. We need to make sure that she can rest in peace in a very beautiful spot, especially just for her and for everything that she has gone through in her such young life. So here's the link. If anybody wants to, let me see if I can come over here, and give me just a second. Let me see if I can come over here and pin it. Sorry, I'm not there yet. Sorry, guys. I just did something. I might have to post it again. Tell me what you guys know about this case. This case has kind of died down just a little bit. I mean, we creators will bring it up and do the updates on it because, like I said, there's really not a whole lot going on, where I think we're all kind of just waiting for the charge to come. I think that's really all we're waiting for, is the charge. Amy, I see you if you want to turn your camera off. Okay.
All right.
Hey,
Hi, do you hear me?
I hear you. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, good. I'm just getting sick of these judges. I said this, I don't know if I said it on your channel, but there has to be like a report card for them.
Yeah.
With all the cases that they've failed kids on. Like it's terrible. Like even where I live in New Jersey, I don't know if you should, there's this case that It's another heartbreaking case. It's similar, but not similar. It's of Corey Micciolo, a boy that the mother was not married to the father, but they were sharing custody or whatever, something like that. But it was in South Jersey, and she kept begging the judge because the boy kept coming back on weekends with bruising and terrible injuries. And what happened was she was very concerned one weekend because she had a court emergency hearing to try to get the visitation stripped from the father, and the frickin' judge would not abide, and he let him still go that weekend, and he died that weekend. And there was video surveillance of the father forcing the kid on a treadmill, telling him he's fat, 6 years old, and he could fall off, and he would make him get back on and start it up. And these judges, I'm telling you, there needs to be a report card on that. It's fair, and there's really blood on their hands. They have to be held accountable when there's absolute evidence of injury and threat to life, and they're not doctors or nurses. Like I'm in healthcare, and I don't think these judges should be making decisions, any medically based decisions, because it's the law and we need reunification and fathers' rights and etc. It's unbelievable. So I don't know. That's my opinion. And then I'm just a funny stickler on pronunciation. Me. It's Haverhill.
Haverhill. Okay.
Haverhill. No, my mom's a Massachusetts girl. So
yeah.
I'm just
well, when I
funny.
was reading it, I wasn't expecting, because I just found this out 13 minutes, so we're kind of all reading it together. On this
I
breaking
know.
stuff, I don't have
No,
time
I'm
to
being
review
funny.
it.
I'm being funny though. I'm just being funny. I'm like a stickler. Like names. That's my pet peeve. But I just, in my opinion, I'll let the next person come on. But I just really think there needs to be a report card for judges, and that there really needs to be that database for the CPS. It helps in schools. It helps with everything, especially now if kids are coming in new to school and there's just weird stuff and the kid is not even from the district, and they're, you know what I mean? So that's my piece on that with the judges
Well,
and their
Amy,
decisions.
you've been following me for a little while, and
Yes.
what do you think about I have been advocating for the centralized computer system. What do you
I
think
think
about that?
that's awesome. I think that it's really important because it would help professionals in schools. And I did case management in the hospital. I did pediatric case management in a New York City public hospital system. I did work the PICU. I worked the NICU. I did I've seen babies abused. I've seen terrible things, and the kids abused, and these horrible histories, and social workers have their hands tied. And what I think that would be very helpful for them to see if they're hopping from hospital, hospital hopping, state hopping, because I worked, in an area where you would get to New Jersey really quick. So if there was a kid for instance, like hypothetically, if a kid, just comes in and you don't know anything about them, and there's these weird signs and etc., but you don't know that they were in another hospital in New Jersey just across the Hudson River, and you're not going to know if there was anything called in from a previous hospitalization. And these are potentially life-saving measures that you can take to save children. So that's where I'll end it. So that's just my opinion.
Well, Amy, we always love having you and having
Take
your
care.
perspective.
All right.
Thanks.
Have a good day, and you're
You
doing
too.
great. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Panda Bella. Okay. Sorry. Panda Bella, I'm going to go ahead and bring you forward.
Hi, everybody. How are you, buddy?
Good.
Well, I just want to say I absolutely love your channel and everything you've been doing, boots on the ground. I mean, it's been amazing to watch your progress through the past, almost a year now.
Yeah. It's been a little rocky. I gotta say, I don't know how I survived, but
you did it. And that's the main thing. I just want to say this case, I'm in Canada, so things are a little bit different up here. However, we still have a lot of problems with the alphabet soup, especially when it comes to kids kind of falling through the cracks. a lot of times. And with this case, not only the mother, the father, but CPS and the finger pointing. But for me, it's how can you allow a child 2 years? I mean, 2 years that somebody did not. I mean, I know the mother, Crystal, has said, you know, I was following up and everything like that. But I mean,
in all fairness, I read the report myself on this one, and she, you know, she didn't follow up for a significant amount of time.
That's what I mean.
She started saying, you know what, I really haven't, like, I think it was well over a year before she's like, oh, I haven't heard from my daughter. It's like, you know, poor Harmony.
Oh, I couldn't imagine what that baby's gone through. I mean, and of course, no stability. And it's, you know, her baby brother, it was all because of her baby brother that this was actually brought forward, because the adoptive parents went and said, hey, he wants to meet her. All he does is talk about her. And that's the only reason why anybody even got involved in this case, which I find absolutely just mind blowing. And the other thing that I was seeing in the chat about the river and the different possibilities. Also, I do not know how Kayla, I believe is her name, how she was even released.
I don't either. That's why I thought it had something to do with maybe she was, you know, turning state's evidence against on Adam, and because they don't, prosecutors just don't forget to formally file something with a court. I mean, I've worked in this, you know, we as a paralegal working for attorneys, we have systems to make sure these types of things don't happen. So that not being filed was intentional. I know it was intentional because I know the fail safes that are done. Because I mean, attorneys, if you forget to file something, think about it. Your client can sue you. And even with the state, if you forget to file something, you could lose your whole case because you have technical stuff you can lose cases over as
sanctions,
well.
I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but sanctions and different things. I mean, this case just truly shows what happens. Sure, she had family, but at this point, I wouldn't call those people family. The family that her little brother had, I wish they could have gotten a hold of Harmony. I really do, because maybe some of these things wouldn't have happened and she would have.
But just think about it. Like Kayla, the whole reason why Kayla's in this situation, like she just got a pass. And here she is falling right back into the drugs, the substances, being caught distributing. These types of things are not good. And you got a missing stepchild. You don't think that that your life is out of control enough? Like you would think at this point, any person, you would think. Now, granted, you know, you would think that she would say, my life is out of control. Something horrific happened to my stepchild. You know, this lifestyle.
I think she had something to do with it.
Yeah, she probably did. And maybe that's why she's going to the drugs, to escape.
And maybe that's the thing. And especially, I'm a former addict, always will be. However, I'm clean 2 years, which I'm very proud of. And one of the things, though, is, you know, the drugs just take over your world. And there's, unfortunately, a lot of people can't see the light and can't get out. Very lucky that I had a very good support system around me. But especially when children are involved, that's just another mouth to feed. And that's horrific. So glad the likes are going up. Good job, everybody. Keep liking the broadcast. I know Betty does so much work behind the scenes nonstop.
That's insane. I'm telling you, you know what? My concealer, like I got to go buy some more concealer. Like I'm going through this stuff because I have to try to hide the bags because I want to look. I want to look young. I don't want to look tired for you guys.
Oh, do the little roller. You know those little stone rollers you put into ice and you just. And
they don't work. These bags need to be hidden. I need freight truck right there.
Yeah, just. There we go. I just wanted to say thank you so much for covering these cases. I mean, this case, I've kind of distanced myself.
It's hard.
It is so hard. But I'm glad now that some things are progressing. Now we just have to find Kayla. I mean, and what gets me is the uncle that was reporting about the black eye or the supposed black eye.
Why didn't he come forward sooner, man?
Right? And why didn't he just take her?
Yeah.
I mean, if I ever saw a child with any sort of bruise or mark or anything, I'm telling you, you'd have to fight me to get even close to them again.
I read his affidavit. I read the
Yeah.
brother's affidavit. He watched some brutal stuff happen to that little girl. I'm not going to say it on here.
No.
But his affidavit, he witnessed some stuff, and I'm thinking, why did you witness it? Because this was years. I mean, you got to think this is over 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
You know, and why would he not come a little girl? And
exactly. And the thing is too, we still need to find harmony, right? I mean, we're 2 years behind already. And that's not even, I think it was more like 2.5, because it was October, I think, was the last time she was seen, or something.
It was, I can tell you right here, because it was I know she last talked to her mom on Easter, and I believe it was right around December, like November. I want to say November 10th or something. They got it like November 28th to December 10th is when they narrowed the time frame down of Harmony's disappearance, and that's of November 28th to December 10th of 2019.
Okay.
And she wasn't even reported. I don't think she was reported missing, if I'm not mistaken. She wasn't even reported missing until 2022 or 2021. Yeah.
Was it?
Sorry, sent letters begging for help to find her daughter. That was the end of 2021, 24-hour tip line. So it looks like right about December 31st, they started really under December 31st, 2021. December 31st, 2021 is when anybody took this child's case seriously.
And the thing, I don't understand how somebody can just, and even the mom with addiction and everything going on. I mean, you're talking April, basically, for Easter, and you don't check in. And then you start blaming, oh, well, all my family members tried to contact them. You could not stop me from getting to my daughter. You couldn't.
She didn't start looking for her daughter. Hold on, let me read this. She didn't start looking for her daughter until September 2021. So she hadn't talked to her daughter since April 2019.
Almost 7 months.
2019, it was April. Hold on, let's so sorry. Last heard from her daughter Easter 2019, and she didn't ever know. So she didn't go not that year. She didn't report it, so she missed that 2019. We go through 2020, and it's not until 2021 that she actually starts looking for her daughter.
So that's more like a year and 7 months, basically,
which. That was a significant amount of time. I remember it being. So even mom, this girl was set up for failure.
Absolutely.
From the beginning. But even people that are set up for failure at the beginning still survive typically. This is one that just did not. And it's sad. And it's sad. And it's not like these people we know are pieces of garbage. Like the state of Florida, or not the state of Florida, excuse me, the state of New Hampshire knows that these people, it's not some kind of, like they're not stupid. Like they know these are pieces of garbage parents. That's why the state's involved. But when the state's involved, we expect them to actually be involved.
But see, up here, we a lot of times have CPS getting involved. That's what we call them up here. CPS getting involved in regards to people that, there might be, the parent smoking pot once in a while or something like that. But the real cases, it seems like they're just like, oh, that's too much work on my caseload, pass it along. So it seems like a lot of good parents sometimes are getting kicked when the bad parents are just getting, oh, we'll give you another try. We'll give you another try. I mean, there's no reason for this little girl to have slipped through the cracks as much as she had. And then on top of all the trauma that she went through is just.
But what I have a problem with though is that they were contacted. It wasn't that DC they failed. Like they went to the house, and I think it was something like they may have talked to, but they took the father that they now know is a violent criminal felon. They took his statement as facts and did no investigation whatsoever, even though they had an anonymous complaint and a child had a black eye.
Exactly. And this needs to be looked into on like an actual full investigation, which will
did.
never happen. It'll
They
never
did.
happen.
They did.
Oh, they did.
Oh, they did. And it was pretty damning to the state.
Okay. I'd have to
Very
look at
damning to the state. So much so that I think a guardian ad litem or somebody representing Harmony Montgomery should sue them.
absolutely. Oh,
I mean, she's now deemed deceased.
Yep.
So she has an estate.
Mhm.
You know, she's a kid. So somebody for her benefit could, and that settlement go to her next of kin, which would most likely be a trust for her brother, which would be a fabulous thing.
Absolutely. And, you know, I couldn't imagine those adoptive parents, you know, maybe they did have room in the home for Harmony and just, you know, they found out from her brother who's just like, I just want to see my sissy, like, you know, and it's just a heartbreaking thing. And especially when they came out with the refrigerator and everything else. I mean,
Because she deserves justice on all levels, not just the people that did this, but she had a full failure. Our government is responsible for this. Our government is on the hook for some financial damages, the way I look at it right now, especially the government of New Hampshire. And I hope that somebody is looking into this and going to consider, you know, appointing a guardian ad litem or somebody to represent the estate of Harmony Montgomery, because I'm sorry. I think the state, city, county, whatever it is, needs to be sued for this child. And I think that the benefit of those funds should be benefited to her brother or brothers. I believe she has more than one sibling.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I hope that somebody, you know, unfortunately, this case has gone, so many people just didn't care enough.
Mhm.
And, you know, in a sense, even the uncle, I think it was, that you were saying, the reporter of the abuse.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you're watching this and you just come out as a witness, at some point you're kind of also involved with this because you allowed it to happen in front of you. So
But there's a thin line, though. You know, prosecutors probably want to charge him as well, but they have to weigh it. You know, would
And
we
getting more
prefer having him as a witness and uncharged to get the real culprit, or would we rather him charge and him clam up and not be a witness for the state?
exactly.
You know, so unfortunately, it's
I
a
know.
dirty game, but you have to take the less evil in a situation like that.
Very true. Very true. But that's about all that I have on that. And I just want to say thank you so much for always bringing people up and, you know, having an open conversation. Even I know this is not about Kiely, but may God bless her. My goodness. And may she rest in eternal.
All these victims deserve their moment. You know,
They really
deserve their
do.
moment.
And I'm actually glad that we moved on to Harmony a little bit, just so we can let some things figure themselves out with that.
Because we still have some time, and at the end of the day, all we can do is speculate. You know,
Exactly.
the law enforcement has been very clear to us; they're not letting us know a damn thing until November 1st.
Yeah, and my family, a lot of police officers, so I back the blue, but you know, them tight lips and you know, the especially though and I get it, you know, with the fact that they couldn't find the car, everything like that. And I know this is about Harmony, but it's just you know, as AWP said, they're not used to that kind of equipment. They're really not. So
and I also, you know, just kind of going on that tangent as well. But you know, I noticed that when the operators, it seemed like the operators were on the bank, like they're really that's I don't like that. That probably is part of the problem right there, because
you
operators should be looking at that in real time, not receiving that from somebody else.
Exactly. And I think too, with how many agencies were involved, you know, I think there's definitely some sort of, I don't like the sheriff personally. There's previous things that have happened with that sheriff, the allegations that went forth, and of course unfounded, which is, as you know, a very interesting word in the police world. You know, there's just some things there that I'm going, we got to find out more. And I mean, for them not even to release the fact that this is suspicious, at least, even just that.
I'm wholly disappointed in their approach at the last press conference on August 22nd. And the reason why I'm disappointed is because I felt like they knew they had already seen it. You know, we watched the whole extraction of the car out of the water.
Yep.
We know darn well that the detectives went up there, moved the tarps. We know that they looked before that car ever left that sand lot by that lake. The detectives had already previewed everything that was still in the car, the way it came out. They knew the condition, and they came out there and they knew what they knew with where the location of Kiely and never addressed it. And then after Adventures with Purpose, I know that had to probably burnt their grits by Adventures with Purpose doing that, but that's okay. They're allowed to. You know, we have to work within law enforcement has to work within the Constitution as well. You know,
Exactly.
Sorry, but that's just how things work.
And
so I know that they may have gotten that call from law enforcement says, you know, let's just give us a few, just let us try to get this. But they still should have addressed it. If they didn't address it at that first conference when this damning information came out, they should have came out and said, you know, we're looking at this. We realize that this might not be just an accident. We're also doubling a criminal investigation, a parallel investigation with the accident investigation, just to let people know that they realize that this is not good and they're doing everything they can. We haven't heard that yet.
Exactly. And I mean, one thing that really gets to me, especially if the FBI in Nevada County is involved in this, with the removal of the vehicle, you're telling me that people like AWP, who I watch extensively, have nets and everything in place using bags, and you just flip the car over, let a broken thing, let this happen, all these different things, damage to the vehicle.
That's another thing. Like
come on.
That was what made me so angry, because you know that they kicked Adventures with Purpose. Adventures with Purpose told us that as soon as law enforcement got there, they were kicked off. You would think that this would be the procedure of law enforcement. Now, no, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you would think that they would send somebody down there to do their initial preview of everything, very similar to what Adventures with Purpose did, but probably more in depth, because now they can take pictures, underwater cameras and stuff like that, and get a whole photography of everything that's in there. Adventures with Purpose typically pull the car up, how it goes down, and they do this, from my understanding, for a reason. So evidence isn't sucked out of the windows. So if law enforcement would have just allowed Adventures with Purpose to help them, we wouldn't have all this stuff washing up on shore. Or at least in the alternative, they could have netted the car before it came up, so it would keep all the stuff in the car. They could have had somebody down there as stuff was coming out of the car that was responsible for cleaning up the floor bottom. But I can't imagine the insult to injury to those parents that just lost their daughter, thinking this was a professional extraction, and now pieces of their daughter are, you know, it's graphic, because, you know, I want people to understand the gravity of this. It is her belongings, but it's pieces of her life that is washing up on this bank at this lake where she lost her life.
And as a parent, I don't even know. I'd strap on dive gear myself and be like, what else are you missing? I mean, the father's reaction was exact, in my opinion, of how a family would, like, how did they miss this? You know, and just the steps they didn't take. And yesterday with that track that went right down, I mean,
you could see it, you know, and that's what I mean, these officers just had to be completely, and we had the FBI involved too. How can we miss tracks? How can we miss the car going in how did we miss this? I don't think they thought she was there. I think they just they had to have just glossed over that area, assuming she wouldn't be that close. I just feel like they had to have, because even the scuba divers, you would think that they would have gone. What's the purpose of having scuba gear on if you're not going to go underwater?
And even just swimming along at the top.
I can understand the swimming along, though, because it was cloudy. Even with the cameras down there on the car, it's cloudy. It was green. It was murky.
Exactly.
So I can kind of understand that, but how can they not go down low enough that they can't see visibility?
And that's what I mean. You do, like, as far as diving for me, I've done some diving, but, you know, not searching. But you know, you first start out, you look at what you're going for, and then you start your descent. And I mean, there's definitely different ways, especially if you're trained in diving, not to stir up salt. What's that word? Silt.
Yeah.
You know, you do a certain kick side to side instead of like this. You're doing it kind of like a frog.
Right.
And so there's definitely different ways to get around that. And on top of that, that silt is not going to cause you to miss a car, an SUV.
But it didn't sound like, I can't tell if they actually had, you know, because that place was big there. Did they actually have the sonar? Were they using the sonar equipment in that specific area? Or did they just send divers in that specific area? I was always unclear about their answer with that.
They haven't been clear about it. I mean, I've looked at this case more than I've looked at a lot of other cases, just because it hits home to me, because there's so many different ways. When I was a teen, I can tell you that I'm very glad that I made it home. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. And those friends are no friends. I mean, and I see a lot of.
I'm very skeptical about the whole Sammy thing, anyways, because even
I have my eyes on her.
You know, her really close friends. It didn't sound like Sammy, and it didn't sound like they hung out with each other.
Friends.
It sounded like they hung out at parties together.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me that there is a party connection. And if there's a party connection, there's probably party drugs connected with those connections. So I think it was more of a friend, dealer friend type of scenario.
And
you know, I don't know. Somebody's just suspicious. And so is
uppers and downers, especially if you're overachieving. I'm not going to say what my path, but I know
that these kids that overachieve, you know, people look at them, but being from me, you know, where I'm from, like I was, you know, I had a lot of problems when I was younger. If you were here earlier, you heard Mama Bullhorn talk about, you know, one of the stories of, you know, one of the adolescent things that I did. I mean, I was a handful as a child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was screaming for help. I just didn't realize it. That's what it ended up being. But
same here.
you hear these things, and it's like I know I used to hang out because I was in that environment. I hung out with people that had, you know, master degrees and PhDs were like, I never was out there like that where I was on the street or anything. I ended up breaking my bank account in 6 months, and I went to rehab.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened to me.
Yeah.
You know, but these other people, you know, smart as a whip, just people that had better minds than me. Even when I was talking to them, it was like, they're so like, what are you doing here?
And what
in
a lot
this
of
gutter with me.
Yeah,
you know?
A lot of people don't realize that a lot of times the smarter people need drugs in a way. Exactly. They need it just to stop their brain from going so fast and everything, and then, you know, they get burnt out, so then they're like, well, I need something to keep going. And you know, I see somebody says my dad had to nail my screen on the bed.
I saw when I was reading that.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I definitely lost privileges out of my roof. But
I got a story to tell you. If you guys didn't hear, Mama Bullhorn actually told another story months ago about when we were kids. My mom and father had actually, I'm not sure if my grandfather was just babysitting us, or this when he went to, when my parents went to the Bahamas for, you know, one of their getaways.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was in the house, and we lived in this big, huge 2-story house in Northwest Bradenton. And we had this pine tree up, and Angela, my sister, and I were very, you know, young. And, but we had a friend over. I mean, we were like 10, between 9 and 12, you know, I mean, we were about that age, but we had nothing really to do. You know, Grandpa was there. He sits in a chair and watches TV. You know, we have a girlfriend over. We got to keep ourselves occupied. So what do? Mischievous stuff, because we're 9 to 12 years old, and we don't realize what we're doing is mischievous. What we think we're doing, and we think it's fun. This will be a fun idea, right? So we took the screen out of my sister's bedroom window and started climbing down the tree. So we had this tree. Now, mind you, we're young kids, okay? This has got to be terrifying. You know, as a parent now, you know, I got to think you've broken bones, broken neck. Like, there's like multiple things that can happen. We're not thinking about it. So we're all climbing down this tree. Now, granted, my grandfather is much older because he didn't have my mom until he was in his 50s.
Yeah.
So my mom comes home, and apparently my grandfather must have been as pale as a ghost. My mom comes in here and she's like, Daddy, what's going on? He's just like, I'm losing my damn mind. She's like, what? I keep seeing these damn kids go upstairs. I never see them come downstairs, and I see them going back upstairs again. And he couldn't figure it out. My dad comes home and sees that screen down there on the second floor at the base of that, and they call us down. They're like, what have you guys been doing today? Well, nothing, Mom. Well, Grandpa's saying you guys are going upstairs, and he's not seeing you come down. Well, we're going down the tree.
Oh, precious.
My dad came home that night. That tree was out at the road.
Oh.
It was out at the road.
Escape hatch gone.
That tree was bigger than the house. My dad got an extension ladder. That tree was literally gone. He just got done working all day in the heat, and he hears that we're out, down there, and we were going out that window. So my grandfather was just babysitting us. I remember it now because I remember my dad coming in his work van on that back driveway, and I just remember I remember getting a spanking.
Yep.
And then I remember hearing the chainsaw, and then it was all over.
At least the chainsaw wasn't coming for you, honey.
I know. Hey, you never know. No, I'm just joking.
No, I'm kidding.
Well, Pandabella, it was great. It was nice talking to you. I'm going to go ahead and see if anybody else wants to come up. And then if nobody else wants to come up, I'm just going to wrap it up. Just a sad story today. I wish we could find, what I want to do? I want to cover a story that has a really, really good ending.
Oh, wouldn't that
That's
be
what we need in the true community.
It really would. And, like an Elizabeth Smart kind of story that she comes home.
Yeah. And that's what we need. We need something that we can just cheer about. And, even the small things that we can cheer about is because it technically was YouTubers that found Gabby. It was YouTubers that just found Kiely. We have a lot to be thankful for in the YouTube community in the help that it does provide some of these cases. But, they're still not in the condition we want to bring them home in. No. I'd like YouTubers to bring somebody home and bring somebody home safe.
Yeah. And one thing also I'd like to say just before I get off here, I respect the way that you went about the conversation with Ryan. But 100% that child is real. Yeah. And there are some really weird situations around that. We can all agree on that.
I think we can all agree on that.
But that mother, you cannot tell me that child was not real. You cannot.
No, but you know what? I wonder, this is what I kind of, because I didn't know who Ryan was. And I still don't know him. I mean, for all, either. Intents and purposes, I really don't. I talked to him. I've talked to him personally a couple times.
Yes.
But I still watch him. It's kind of seeing somebody when they're not looking. I still watch him. I still watch what he does. I'm still watching his move. This guy seems like he really wants to help. And I keep wondering, was the whole thing, was it reverse psychology on everybody? I don't know what he, like, I don't think he would do, I don't think, like, Ryan doesn't seem to me like the kind of person, and I could be totally off about him. I'm unsure, but I have to think I'm pretty good on judgment, but maybe I'm not. But I have to think he would never intentionally go out and hurt. So he just doesn't seem like that kind of person that gets off
no, I don't think
hurting people or causing pain or anything like that. And even though it was a temporary sting in something, I keep wondering, was this a reverse psychology thing? Was it, because I mean, really, it did produce a lot of videos and a lot more information because of what he did.
I just, I guess it's just the tact, the different ways of doing things. I mean, we've seen pictures, and yes, some of those photos with her teeth janked up and stuff. Yeah.
Actually, I think I figured it out, because I went back and looked at it. It looked like she actually at one time had a tooth that grew out over the other tooth, and it looked like in a later picture you can kind of see that there was some. It looked like they had pulled it out.
or it could be one of those photo programs that tries to
Yeah.
remove braces, anything.
Yeah, that's what Ryan was saying too. But I went back to look, and it looked like there was it looked like it almost appeared like it might have just been one tooth, and it looked like it was growing over another tooth. But it could have been a Photoshop. These when you blow these photos up, they get so blurry, and it degrades the photo.
It really does. But again, I'm wishing you all the luck in the world coming up with Monkey. I hope that comes to a happy ending.
I'm really excited. I've been doing a lot of work. I've been trying to clear my mind, from any kind of obstacles, because I feel bad for Michael. And, there's so many things that could happen out there. I'm really just trying to have a blank page and just go at this from a few different angles to see what could have happened. I don't know, obviously we're not going to go out there and solve a case or find this boy, but maybe bringing some clarity, answer a few questions, and more importantly, go out and help, because at this point he's been gone for over a year. I've got to think that the flyers need to be updated around the community.
Yeah.
There's got to be other things that we can do out there to help advocate for Michael Monkey Vaughn. And also get some, maybe some little tidbits. Maybe the families would be willing to answer some questions or anything like that. We don't know what I have no expectations to go out there other than to help, other than to answer personal questions for myself. I've got a lot of questions that just, I need to know, because I don't know how to approach the case. And that's why I really haven't run a whole lot with this case, the Michael Monkey Vaughn. I have been putting his, his photo out there. We have run some cases, he's on thumbnails and stuff like that, but I really don't know which way to go with this, because of,
I think once you get down there though, your gut heart, it's going to tell you.
Yeah, I really do. That's the way it always is.
Yeah, that's why I love watching you, and you're so straightforward about it, and I love it.
Yeah.
Don't ever change. I know you wouldn't, but just saying. But one thing too is that guy that has never been found that was in that play pad, or the splash pad there, and then the new case with Eliza Fisher or Eliza.
Yeah, I really didn't run with that case. A lot of people were, and it was so quick by the time I could have any opportunity to investigate it or look into it. It was already done.
If you can find an heiress, let's just put it that way, that fast, why can you not find a little baby boy with all the Ring cameras, everything? So
yeah.
That's, I think, the last thing I'll say on that. But thank you so much for having me up here. I appreciate it. And keep on going.
Yeah, and come back anytime, because I open it up and I like perspectives. And I just think it opens up people's mind, because like for me, like even the whole thing with the Boca Reservoir, but somebody coming up here and kind of explaining their position. And then you start thinking, yeah, I guess maybe it could be possible. But without that perspective, you don't make that connection.
Another thing too about that Boca, I'm wondering, because parents, right? I mean, out in the country, parents come to parties, all right? A lot of times, and especially at campgrounds. So I'm wondering if something happened, it's not Kiely there. Person looked very similar to Kiely. They said, bring it to the Boca. So you have this truck driver as an alibi or whatever, that you were over there kind of, and then everything else proceeded. But how the hell did that car get past everybody? Unless people weren't really looking at the reserve at that point and they were looking in different areas, right? We don't know.
Because I don't think anybody believed I don't think, like, even her mom at first, I was looking at her mom's body language. She it almost appeared, at least what I got out of it, she knew that there was something wrong. Either she got into a wreck or something happened to her. I think she was expecting to find her in a wreck, she would be hurt, injured, but they would find her and she'd be okay. I think everybody in the back of their mind, that was kind of where we were all going. Or she just got really intoxicated, ran off with a boy, and did some irresponsible 16-year-old stuff. I mean, that really was what we were all thinking at first. Nobody thought she was sunk at the bottom of the lake. I mean, I thought that was a possibility, but in the grand scheme of things, that early on, I was hoping she was found.
Me too. But as soon as I saw that Sammy girl talk, bing,
I didn't catch on. Everybody was got bells going on, but my bells were turned off on this case.
Well, one thing I rewatch is that interview she did with All American Racer.
Yeah, Tony Dodge.
When she puts her hair behind her ears, watch from that point, and it's after 11:30, everything goes
Yeah. Because she couldn't
I was
explain it. Because, and then she even stumbles to interject the text message to Kylie's mother. And Dolly has always said, I mean, literally, golly, I want to say almost the first time he covered this case, and he found it. Maybe it was right after. It had to have been right after Sammy's first interview with American Dream Chaser, and he said, "This stinks to high heaven. These 400 kids. These kids know something. There's foul play here." He goes, I would bet she didn't even send the text to her mom. And I always hung up on that. I'm like, yeah, of course she did. She probably got drunk after the text, or something like that. But I'm telling you, I'm finding out stuff. And
yeah, I've been pretty messed up and I've been able to send some good texts. Okay.
That's what Olivia was saying. We were discussing this case last night. Well, that's another thing. Olivia was here last night. We were working. Right? We worked until almost 10:30.
I love her. She needs to put up more videos. Tell her that, please.
Yes, but see,
her story.
Well, here's what people don't understand. Olivia's the millennial. She's the one that kind of understands these kids a little better than, say, myself or anybody else that I collaborate with. Because we're a little older.
Yeah.
So she's really working very hard to make connections. And find out some information. So in her videos take hours and hours and hours. She's working on something short of amazing. I can promise you that. But she's having to refocus a lot of her energy to do things that I can't do because I can't get to these kids. These kids, when they look at my profile, they're like, oh, hell no. They look at somebody's profile like Chronicles of Olivia. They realize she's a nice girl in their age group and they can connect and understand her, and she understands them. Absolutely. So I just want her to keep doing that work until we can uncover, a few people at this party to find out what really happened, because, we're down to the wire. I mean, I have a funny feeling if we don't get this information soon, when law enforcement releases the autopsy and, toxicology report, I have a funny feeling everybody's going to shut down and we're not going to get crap from these kids. I mean, we're already having a hard time. It's like pulling teeth now, but I think it'll be 1,000 times worse.
Absolutely. And I don't know if they come out and say that it's an accident. We know that something is definitely.
Oh, if they come out and say it's an accident, you guys are, what? People say I'm controversial about my bullhorn until they want me to use my bullhorn. But that would be one I think I could garner a lot of support across YouTube for.
Oh yeah, get a double going.
Yeah, we would definitely set something up and make it open to anybody and everybody that would want to come. And I think people are emotionally invested in this case, so much so that it would be huge. I would caution law enforcement to please do a good job and make sure you explain this very, very clearly and very well.
And with Olivia's video in regards to the psychic, her psychic was very similar to Donna Safina, I think is her name, with the light-haired boy, wakeboarder, went down to the water together. Like, there's a lot of corresponding things. So if you can pass that on to Olivia as well.
I'm sure she's watching, or she will.
She has
on the replay crew.
Right. But absolutely. Thank you so much, Betty.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye. So I'll go ahead and put this down here. I'm not going to be, if you guys want to sit and chat, I'm happy to sit and chat, but I kind of threw all the stuff that I was going to say about Harmony Montgomery and Kayla Montgomery, about the breaking news of her not showing up to court. Pretty damning. I mean, she's in enough hot water. These people, man, I don't get it. Let's see. I know I'm invested. Yeah, I know. I think we all are invested in this case. I think I think everybody here can agree that girl did not put herself back in that hatch. And I don't give a damn unless they want to label this an accident. If they can prove to me that somebody put her, accidentally put her in the water, I want them to explain if she was strapped in, how she was strapped in. So it seems to me like they almost knew they were going in the water if they took the time to make sure she was secure in the back hatch. Just saying. I don't get that. Like, what purpose would you have to strap somebody into the hatch? Why couldn't they just lay her there if she was intoxicated? None of this makes sense. I'm not even going to try. That we're on a completely different tangent. So, But anyways, nobody's coming up. So for now, I think we're going to say goodbye. I want to tell you guys all thanks for coming here. I know this is not, I know I've attracted a lot of people discussing the Kiely Rodni case, but this is equally important. This is Harmony Montgomery. This is a case I've been following for quite some time. We've been doing little bits and pieces on this little girl. And we found out recently that, you know, she is considered deceased. And we just, our heart bleeds for her. Our heart bleeds for her true family and the people that are in pain because of her loss. And we just want to, you know, do whatever we can. Clearly, the people that were in and around her at the time that were there to protect her failed her. The people that were above those people, the government that was there to protect this little girl, they failed her. And, you know, we as creators have been out here advocating for her so she doesn't get failed again. We want justice for Harmony Montgomery, and we want to make sure those responsible for her demise and her disappearance are held accountable, and not held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. With that, guys, God bless each and every one of you. I don't know if I'll go live later today or not. I know, you know, I'm trying to do 2 lives a day as we get up, you know, make sure that we keep up to date on Kiely Rodni. So if you're interested in updates on Kiely Rodni, we'll be back here tomorrow, first thing in the morning, probably about 8 or 8:30. Let's say 8:30 conservatively. We'll be here to dive further into the Kiely Rodni case, see what else pops up. We don't know, right? This stuff is moving. It's moving, and we don't know what information is going to be released from now until the time I go live. But if you come back here tomorrow morning, you'll find out. So you guys take care. God bless each and every one of you. And guys, don't forget to be fearless, folks. And if you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Have a good day. God.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.